Raw and Real is launching a new series on the career guidance with the diverse career paths across the different specialization. Through insightful discussions with the professional experts, we are aiming to bridge the gap between the education and the employment. Welcome everyone to the introductory section of Raw and Real on Career Guidance series. Today, we are having a very special guest joining us for the insightful career talks.
Dr. Kiran Gopakumar is a senior quality assurance expert at the Oman Authority for Academic Accreditation and Quality Assurance of Education, OAAQA. With around 30 years of experience in higher education management, quality assurance, institutional governance, and e-governance. He holds a PhD in Information Systems from the London School of Economics and Political Science, LSE, United Kingdom, an MPhil in Applied Economics from Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU, New Delhi, an MBA from the University of Kerala, and a BTech in Electronics and Communications Engineering from the College of Engineering, Trivandrum, CET. Dr. Kiran is the president of Indian School Muscat, ISM, and a board member of Indian Schools in Oman, supporting school leadership and development. He is also a board member of Obriel Global, contributing to international higher education policy and collaboration. Previously, he was Dean of Middle East College, MEC, Oman, where he worked on teaching quality, research, and graduate employability. He has chaired accreditation panels for universities in Oman and has led e-governance and ICT for development initiatives in India, including the Akshaya Telecenter project. He actively engages with students, educators, and policymakers through career sessions, training programs, and institutional advisory roles, focusing on education, employability, and leadership development.
Welcome Dr. Kiran to this episode. So nowadays career guidance has become a vital role in developing a student's career and even while making their decision. So as an education expert, what is your thoughts on the role and the impact of the career guidance while shaping the student's academic and the professional path?
Career guidance has always been important. For every generation, it is important. And if you look at the history of any country, you would find how significant career guidance is. What has changed, however, is that things have become fast. The dynamic nature of how the workplace is, the dynamic nature of how the world is, has brought in a lot more challenges. So that's going to make a big difference. And it's also going to make a difference because the children of today are different. So earlier it was more prescriptive and you knew these were the channels that you wanted to take. And so if you wanted to be a mechanical or an electronics engineer, then you would go to a particular engineering college, take a degree and then continue with that work. If you want to take up a job in a government entity, then you would probably try and get into that entity and then retire there. But the workplace has changed, technology has brought in a lot of changes, the generation has also changed. All of that poses a great dynamics that need to be taken care in career guidance. So it is more about this generation would like to know, they're reflecting on things like who am I, what is it that interests me, what are my passions, will my career support that? So they're looking deeply into that. And the other is that information is available, and so all the options need to be explored. And that's very important for students, because there could be students who are not very good in one subject or the other, but then they realize that with the interest that they have, there are career options still available. That motivates students in a big way. So career guidance today are important, both in terms of maybe, as shock observers, so that students understand and they're not worried about the dynamic changes and the uncertainties of tomorrow. But on the other hand, also provides them the right launch and gives them the right information to undertake their choices more meaningfully.
That's true, sir. So, nowadays, with the advancement of the technology and that industry, the industry demands, how does the careers, how does the future of the careers looks like?
It is extremely difficult to predict anything. As they say, it's $1 billion kind of question, because we really don't know what are the kind of jobs that will be there even by 2030. So it's very difficult these days. If you look at the World Economic Forum reports, they talk about how 50% of the jobs as we know today wouldn't exist by 2030. And beyond 2030, we don't even know what are the jobs which are available. That's the challenge that the technology is bringing in. AI, Corona has shifted things in a particular manner.
True, sir. True, that's very true.
Availability of even remote technologies, and the technology today helps people work in ways that we never thought about before. And that was again fast-tracked by the Corona effect. For example, there are teachers in India who starts teaching in the morning to students in Singapore, and then by afternoon or so teaches in India, and by late evening in GCC or Europe, sitting in their home using a laptop. And they're not working for one company. With the Singapore one, they're working with one company. For India, it's another company. For the GCC, it's one. And for UK, it's another one. So
true.
There is this person sitting in their home, luxury of their home, using an internet connection and now being able to work across the world. So the talent mobility has increased in a big way.
Yes, and even I think so. In kind of a researchers and all, they were saying the productivity is not even coming down if they are going to work at the home.
But it also poses challenges to people who are otherwise looking at a very comfortable job, because technology will replace big in
especially in IT, sir.
Not only IT. Because this technology is not any longer going to be in IT alone. This is an IT-based technology, but it is going to have all-pervasive effect. So the conventional accountants are probably not going to be there. So you look at any sector, the technology is going to make a huge difference. So it is no longer about IT. It is about every sector that we know, and hence how far are our students ready to take care of not only the challenges that exist today, but that continuing challenges. And as I said, the dynamic nature of this change, the dynamic aspect of it is what is very difficult and challenging for anybody to predict the routes that a student should be taking. And hence they have to be equipped, and they need to plan and do things in a very different way compared to what we were doing 20 years ago, 30 years ago, which was more predictable, yes, with a lot of uncertainty, but more predictable in terms of how things are going to be. But it's going to be very, very difficult now.
So do you think that current market will remain stable, or there is going to be a huge...
It is very dynamic. And we really don't know what is going to be the kind of jobs. But however, with AI and all these technologies coming up, there will be a lot of jobs lost. But there will be a lot of jobs which will be created. Perhaps more jobs, as the studies show, jobs which will be created in auxiliary and in different fields, not necessarily where the technology is going to create those issues, but there are also the green technologies which are coming up, green jobs as they are being called. So there will be things coming up. Opportunities will always be there. It is about equipping students to identify that, continuously identify that, because by the time they've identified and they've started moving in that direction, maybe things are changing. So they have to have that growth mindset, as one calls it, and continuously look for those opportunities rather than saying that, okay, I've now got my job and I will be able to take it forward, go up the ladder, etc. So that's not going to be the case any longer.
And so nowadays, every parents or every students would like to see what are the essential skills required to be in this or be in the future market, and how could they face those challenges, even if they have to adapt these changes.
And that's very interesting because years ago, if one were to talk to a student or a graduate as to what are the skills that they need, if you remember the early 2000, etc., the Y2K problem or whatever. So you go into a particular training institution, you get those skills, and then you get a job.
Yes.
But that's no longer the case. That's no longer the case for two reasons. One is, as I said, the dynamic nature of how the market is going to be. It essentially means that students, graduates, when they get a job, they will have to continuously move from one to the other.
Yes.
As studies show, they would probably have between 16 to 18 jobs in their lifetime. And those 16 to 18 jobs are not in one sector. They're not moving from one software company to another.
Okay.
They're moving from something that they have been doing for 4 or 5 years and shifting completely to something which we don't know today. So those are the 16, 18 jobs that I'm talking about. Now also remember that this generation might live to 100 years or so. And so it's a long journey for them.
Okay.
There are hence...
So why you said like that? It's like, what is that difference in that generation, this and the other generation?
If you look at longevity, even today for a place like Kerala, it will be around between 70, I don't know the exact figure now, but between 70 to 80. So if this generation is going up to 70, 80, then the next generation is definitely going to reach around 100. Looking at how the rapid technology changes are happening and its impact on healthcare and the availability of those kind of support systems right down to the village level or probably to your house. So the healthcare facilities will be much better. So we're expecting them to live longer, and that also poses challenges from a career perspective as well. But it all, talks about how they need the breadth rather than just the specialization, and that's the point that I was trying to make. So if you wanted a job in the early 2000s, you go into a training institution, an IT training institution.
Correct.
You have a specialized skill that you learn, whether it is in a particular software or the other, and then you get a job.
Get a job, correct.
But today it's not just the specialization.
Okay.
It is also about how far do you have the breadth, which are skills, essential skills that you can take from one sector to the other. For example, the growth skills, critical thinking, creativity, the ability to focus on and undertake something. Also about impact, because this generation, if you look at them, you will find that they are very much interested in the purpose of life. They wouldn't start doing things which...
I too relate to that point, because they are leaving, not like earlier, we are going through we study, then we have to get a job, then we have to do like that, the salary, there is but here it's different.
Absolutely. So the well-being is very important for them.
Well-being is very important for them, that's true.
So all of that poses problems for both sides. So even companies will not be able to recruit and retain somebody by giving them 24 hours work. So this generation will work differently. But the growth skills is very important. Growth skills is about identifying opportunities and continuously identifying opportunities. We used to talk about, for example, lifelong learning.
Okay.
And the focus was on the learning. It is important, and it will continue to be an important factor. But growth skill is about identifying opportunities. So it's not lifelong learning, but lifelong identification of opportunities. Yes, learning is part of that.
Learning is a part of it, that's true.
So you need to continuously change, but also do things. And hence the challenge for students is, are they getting equipped for that tomorrow? Or are we actually educating them for the past?
Yes, sir. How does they, sir, when you said in education institution, how should they prepare a curriculum or a skill development program? Because to go ahead with this future, future job markets or career, what should they do for that? Is there any changes they can?
These are again, not easy to take care with one pill. But when we talk about education and education reform, we usually talk about what are the contents required, how should the syllabus and the curriculum look like, can we now redefine the way the infrastructure is and things like that. And yet we all know that what really need to change are the educators itself.
Okay.
And so teachers and faculty members need to be equipped. So we need to start from there, and so that they understand what students need. Bulk of our faculty members would be happy to do it. I mean, I don't, and this is not an area where you will find a lot of resistance to change.
Okay,
There
sir.
would be, provided they are properly informed and equipped, and the capacity is actually built. So we need to start from there. It is not by starting on the syllabus.
Yeah, it start from the early, like how they are.
We need to start from the educators so that the whole design process can be taken care. And by design, what I have in mind is, for example, a faculty, the syllabus remaining the same, the faculty goes into a class, does very well, a lot of activities happening, students are very happy. But then they have a final end of year written examination.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't make sense. So the whole thing needs to be aligned, and if you don't have the content and the teaching and the assessment aligned properly, then it wouldn't help. In other words, if you have a written examination, whatever you do, whatever be the content, students are still going to mug up things.
Yes, sir.
And you're forcing them to do it in that way. But if your assessments are more about projects, it is about problem solving, then students will learn in a different way. So all those skills that I talked about, if you have a problem to start with, it could be a problem in the college, it could be something in the community, it could be something at home. Then if you're looking at that, and then your learning is enabled, because all those skills that I talked about, both in terms of the growth skills, so you're looking at those things, learning, how do I, you're going into the YouTube, you're looking at different ways, how do I solve that problem? You're focused on it. The gadgets are only used for understanding that problem and the solution in a much better way.
Yes, sir.
You're also now becoming creative. Your critical thinking is coming up, and you want to make an impact. So that as an assessment will change the way children will be looking at it, rather than asking them to write an end of semester examination, end of year examination, or an assignment. But they are now doing. And in that, they learn many things. So think about by the 10th standard or 12th standard, an average student has been able to successfully solve some 10 problems, 5 social problems. That's the kind of student that we need today.
Okay.
And so then it doesn't matter if he or she has taken this course or this program or so in that university or this university. These are all important, but he or she would be happy and successful in life because they know what to do in tomorrow's world.
Okay, sir. So do you feel that, sir, like passion can convert it to career?
Passion in itself needs to be defined properly in your mind.
Okay.
I'll give you a few examples.
Okay, sir.
There are a lot of students who like computer games.
Yes, sir.
Students love computer games.
Yes, of course, sir. We are seeing it.
And they are passionate about it. There are people who are very passionate about it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good career for them. So they'll have to really look at, what do you mean by computer gaming as a profession? So when they go behind that, look at a program which is offered by a university, a good university, look at what those graduates have done in life. And if that doesn't match your passion, probably that's not the career that you want.
Okay.
You like cars, you love, every single model of every car in the world, and hence you want to be an automobile engineer? Perhaps not. You need to go back and check whether, when you go into automobile engineering, there is mathematics and there is this and that, and probably that's not what I actually wanted to. And I now find that the graduates from those courses have also ended up in things which that's not what I wanted to do.
Correct,
so
sir.
Chasing a passion is good, there's no doubt about it, but you need to be clear that that's not necessarily what the world of work is connected to.
So like how we can connect nowadays with the passion? or like pieces passion and the careers relate together, like how the students can identify them. Or as I said, so like normally after their high school, like should they require a special kind of an assessment test, or to know in which they are interested in? Because normally even in this age, parents will have their opinion and idea. So like what is your ideas? Like what is your answer for that?
There are assessments available,
Okay.
psychometric tests, etc., which can guide students. But as I said, the things are getting so dynamic that these instruments can provide some help.
Okay.
And provide some scientific help in terms of the overall direction that they can take. But given the emerging opportunities, it is important to map those against the wide range of things which are coming up, which is a very challenging one. So at the end of the day, it's for not only the parents, not the career guidance person, but also the students to now take responsibility for that decision. As to what they want to do, and have that feeling of, my point is, it is no longer static from the point of, okay, this is good, so this course, and if you can get into this university, guarantees a
Yes,
good life for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's no longer the case.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
one needs to look at it as a range.
Okay.
Look at the possible universities or colleges that they want to study. Perhaps their first job is going to be in that area, but that ability to move beyond that is something that they need to think about now. So it is not a static prescribed line.
Okay,
And that's what I'm trying to, because if you look at the career ladders are no longer there, and I don't know whether I referred to the career jungle gym,
Yes, yes,
which the former CEO of Facebook refers to. So it's no longer one linear path. It is about jumping and moving and all of that which will come up. And the new generation would be happy to do that rather than, so they would probably take a gap year and learn something, move around the world, identify another opportunity and move on. So it fits them as well, and that's interesting. So yes, assessment says identifying passions, but I also connected to the opportunities of that time. So it could change,
It can change,
tomorrow.
that's true.
So you never knew that this was there earlier, but when the right opportunity and the right kind of job came up, that's when you realize that this is what I wanted to do. But that was not even considered as a passion 10 years ago.
Okay, so that's great, sir. Sir, do you feel even nowadays the career guidance can even help us to help the students and as well as the parents also, right? Like when you are,
Yes.
so it's and even how when you consider to the other generations, like earlier generation. So what do the pressure the students are going on? Like, are they subtle with their emotions, or like they are stressed on what they are going to do? Or?
No, the pressures are, every generation has a challenge or has a set of challenges which are very difficult for that generation. When we look back, maybe it is not as difficult, but every generation goes through challenges which are difficult for them to overcome. The pressure on kids are always there, but it's also about information, and it's about how well informed you are to understand and probably have a new path. If you were to look at the 80s and 90s, rural India, if you happen to be in rural India, there was very little chance that you would even come to know about an IIT or an IIM. But that's not the case today.
No, that's true.
And so if you look at the students who are coming to the highly rated institutions, not just in India but across the world, they're coming from all over the place. Some 2 years back, I met a student in UK, and she comes from Wayanad. And that was impossible 20 years ago.
That's true, correct, sir.
So as much as there are pressures, there are also opportunities for people to move forward. And that's the dynamics of what we are seeing today. It is important that educators and parents understand this dynamics as well as the opportunities. Otherwise, they may push students into careers that they know they were aware of, and
yes,
they
sir.
felt was better.
Yes, sir.
And that's where the decision making and the ability to take those decisions should rest with the students and not necessarily with the parents and teachers any longer.
That's right. Sir, as an educational expert, like what is your what advice would you give to the students for choosing their right career?
First of all, I'm no person to advise, but given the way things are happening now, my first request to them is that you don't have to worry.
Oh, fantastic.
You don't have to worry for far too many reasons, because you will not be stuck in any place. So even if you have tried something out, or you, for example, chose the wrong course or a university, it doesn't matter, because you will get enough opportunities to correct it and move on to the other one. You will not be stuck.
Earlier it was not like that. Like now
it was
is
difficult. So
difficult.
if you have taken X, then more or less, unless you have that capability and ability to move, but you don't have to worry about it. You need to think about how does it, every time you're choosing career, you need to think about how does it align with your purpose in life. How does it make your life better? Your well-being is extremely important, and you need to see what is the meaningful contribution that you're making to the society. If those things don't come well, then we are talking about a society which will become even more difficult to live in, and you probably don't want to be in that kind of an environment. So when we talk about career as different from life, it is difficult. This should be part of your life, and if you are not able to contribute positively towards it, then perhaps that's not the job that you want to take. So my request to them is that you don't have to worry at all. You will get opportunities. Even something fails, you still have the opportunity to move forward. And so you talked about skill, and one of those skills that is very important for this generation is resilience.
Resilience, that's correct, sir. Exactly.
And one needs to, and fortunately they've gone through it. I mean, the COVID taught them lots of lessons. So this generation knows what we are talking about, and it's not about some theory, but they've actually seen those kind of things.
That brings us to the end of this insightful career talk with Dr. Kiran, and a huge thank you to Dr. Kiran for sharing his time and expertise with us, and your knowledge and experience is truly inspiring, and I'm sure that this is going to help for our youthful mind to develop their career and to see their life in a different perspective way. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and all the very best to all the students. Thank you.
Thank you. If you found this session helpful, please like our video, share with your friends, and subscribe our channel.